now in his 22nd year overall as a head coach, 7th with North Carolina, 2 national championships with the Tar Heels. Let's take a look at his starting 5. Larry Drew II in the backcourt with the 5th-year senior Marcus Ginyard provides leadership for this team. Up front, Will Graves, Ed Davis, and Deon Thompson. 1-2 combination in the front court for North Carolina. For Kentucky, John Wall, the fabulous freshman, Eric Bledsoe, another talented freshman, and Darius Miller in that 3-guard set. Patrick Patterson and DeMarcus Cousins. Cousins, another freshman, a McDonald's All-America. And John Calipari, 22nd head coach in Kentucky history, 9 years at Memphis. Went to the championship game with the Tigers, took UMass to the Final Four, had a brief stop in the NBA with the New Jersey Nets. Kentucky and North Carolina, Tony Green, Ted Valentine, Mike Eads, the officiating crew. We're underway from Rupp, and Kentucky controls the tip. A trip at half court as Wall came away with the basketball.
And that's always an automatic foul now. Anytime a player is tripped, a foul will be called. It'll be interesting to see how North Carolina defends John Wall. Will they pressure him? Will they slag off of him? Keep an eye on that matchup individually. Wall against Drew.
Addison getting an early touch. Bank shot, no. Tip in, doesn't go down. And the rebound controlled by Thompson, who picked up that personal foul for North Carolina. Larry Drew II, much improved from freshman year to sophomore year. Gets more poised. Drew on a curl to the rim. Tip down. Jump shot goes down for Will Graves. Comes in shooting at 30% from long range to give North Carolina the early 3-0 lead. Young teams on both sides. Patterson is the veteran, the junior from Huntington, West Virginia, decided to come back for his junior season. John Wall, wise beyond his years, will pull up off the wall, giving out. Rebound control, Cousins, he puts some English on it.
Well, they want to dominate the paint through the Wildcats. With Cousins and Patterson, they feel like they can play even or better than Carolina's front line, and a good start for DeMarcus Cousins. He's a wide body with nice agility and excellent hands. One of the issues with him is that he has been prone to foul trouble, 25 personal fouls in the first 7 games. He's only averaged about 20 minutes a game because of that.
And Bledsoe picks up the personal foul as North Carolina is able to add to its lead. 5-2. Thompson getting the deuce. Just underway here in Lexington. North Carolina, number 10 team in the country. Kentucky comes in at number 5. John Calipari is as curious as anyone to see how his team responds to this big moment.
They were not pleased with their effort in practice yesterday. Thought it was a little loose and sloppy. But sometimes that is no indication of how a team is going to play on game day.
And Bledsoe called for steps. He turned his ankle yesterday in practice. And both you and I were very curious to see if Eric Bledsoe was going to be able to give it a go. He's lightning fast. Freshman from Birmingham, Alabama. Came as a point guard, but is more in that hybrid role because of John Wall.
And he's got a terrific body. I mean, he is cut up and ripped up. So he's able to play bigger than he is because of his strength and his jumping ability.
Feed it down low for the lefty Davis. And that pass bounced off the head of Thompson out of bounds. North Carolina will retain it. 17 to shoot. Roy Williams, when we spoke with him earlier today, said, look, when you get the young players coming in and doing positive things, it gives the entire team a lift and a confidence. Game in, game out. These are new experiences for the freshmen.
And the more positive ones you can have early, the more confidence you gain. Dexter Strickler was outstanding in the game earlier this week against Michigan State. And Ed Davis had a career high in that game as well, 22.
And Cousins called for steps. So we've seen a travel against the freshman Bledsoe, and Cousins picks up the walk as well. 7-2 North Carolina. 89-82 win over number 9 Michigan State on Tuesday. Davis had 22. Drew had 18 points. Carolina shot 58% from the field, including 5 of 10 from three-point range.
It was one of the best halves. Actually, it was the best half they have played this season. They moved the ball and knocked down good perimeter shots, and then they got production in the paint from their big guys as well, and that's Deion Thompson. When he goes to the right shoulder with that turnaround jump shot, it's almost automatic.
Kentucky trying to push tempo here. North Carolina has taken an early 9-2 lead. 3 minutes gone by in this first half.
Just the kind of start you want to have when you're on the road, Ian. Executing well offensively and making it tough for the home team to get good shots.
Jump hook, Cousins off the rim, and it's rebounded by Davis for the Tar Heels. Drew, contact, and a foul called on the floor. And it's Bledsoe who will pick up number 2.
A bang-bang play here, but clearly Eric Bledsoe was not in defensive position to take the charge. A good call. Oh, and I've really been impressed with Larry Drew II, Ian. Everybody wondered coming into the season how would he handle the added responsibility of running this team. And I think he's been magnificent to this point.
How about the pressure of trying to replace Ty Lawson?
Well, the key to handling that is simply to be who you are. He's got tremendous DNA, understands how to play. Oh, my goodness!
John Wall, a rack attack! Stepped in by Orton. And Wall will back it out. Wow! Well, these fans popped out of their chairs. That was special.
That was special. I'm going to have to put the brakes on my commentary when he's done. My goodness, did that happen quick.
And Orton had it knocked away. Just checked into the game, replacing Bledsoe. On a lob, Davis catches. And negated by Orton. Break opportunity. Wall makes a cut to the hoop. This crowd is electrified from the freshman from Raleigh, North Carolina. And it's going the other way. You want highlights? We've got highlights. Top 10 teams in the nation. Kansas currently ranked number 1. Texas, Villanova, Purdue, and there is Kentucky checking in at number 5, undefeated at 7-0. Duke's got St. John's today, West Virginia, Syracuse, Big East teams represented, and North Carolina, the lone loss coming to Syracuse at Madison Square Garden. Tar Heels lead this one 9-6.
Excuse me, Ian, but that zone defense of Syracuse really bottled up North Carolina's inside game and forced the Tar Heels to settle for perimeter shots, which they did not knock down. They were very impressive. As you look at John Wall, who has been electrifying here in the first 4.5 minutes, this guy has a gear with the ball that very few players that I can recall in college have it. I mean, visiting with Roy Williams, he spoke in terms of John Wall reminding him of a Jason Kidd, who was terrific at California as a 2-year collegiate. But his speed with the ball, his jumping ability, but more impressive to me, Ian, has been his poise in quarterbacking the team. He'll take advantage of his speed when he's in the open court, but he does a nice job running the half-court offense as well.
Little give and go. Orton comes up short on the jump hook. Remember, Wall grew up just 30 minutes away from Chapel Hill and a huge Tar Heel fan. Zeller, pump fake, was just checked in. And a leaner, he gets called for traveling.
That was a pretty nice move by Zeller to show the ball under control at 7 feet tall. He can put it on the floor. Must have just shuffled the feet after that last move. But pretty impressive for a guy of his size to be able to make that kind of move.
North Carolina started the day 4 of 4 from the field. They are 1 of 4 since. Out of bounds, 14:46 mark of this first half. John Henson is in the game for the Tar Heels. He's joined by Dexter Strickland. So we're talking about the youth of Kentucky. How about the youth of North Carolina? They can come at you with so many young players, and they'll go 12 deep.
Yeah, he'll play a lot of people. That'll be something to keep an eye on, Ian. Will Kentucky be able to match the depth that North Carolina can put on the floor?
And Miller gets the floater to go down. Darius Miller, the sophomore from Maysville, Kentucky, has cut into the North Carolina lead. It's 1.
And you can see Kentucky really making a concentrated effort to get that ball into the paint and attack the goal.
And a 6-0 run for the Wildcats. Henson had it stripped. Kentucky with a chance to take the lead. Wall fakes out Strickland, and a foul called before the shot as Wall made his move to the hoop. A lot of hype surrounding John Wall coming into college basketball. This young man has lived up to it. The #1 recruit in the country.
Yeah,
John Calipari landed him.
Yeah, he's the real deal. His voice was the one we heard the most in practice yesterday. He looks like he's a comfortable leader.
Patterson, count it. Kentucky goes in front. Last 6 possessions for North Carolina. 3 turnovers, 0 of 3 from the field. The leadership of Ginyard, 50-year senior, was forced to watch the team win a national championship last year because he was out with a broken foot. Ricochets out of bounds, and Kentucky gets it back.
You know, one of the things that John Calipari talked about with his team yesterday was eliminating the transition and the early offense attack of North Carolina. He felt like they got probably 60 to 65% of their points when they're rolling good in transition or early offense.
Miller open look. Got it for 3.
And right now, Kentucky is making North Carolina play in the half court because they're so efficient at the offensive end.
Boy, the pendulum has swung in a hurry. 13-9, 11-0 run. Jump shot doesn't go for Strickland. Harris gets it ahead. Oh, look out! Spectacular connection. Wall on the alley-oop feed.
And Roy Williams does not like to call timeouts. He wants to have this young team try to play through it.
And a foul called on the other end.
This is the poise and presence I'm talking about with this young man. A lot of guys will try to make that play themselves. He understood who he had on the wing, baited the defender into playing him, and then set it up in room service fashion for Patrick Patterson.
Change for Kentucky. Patterson will take a seat. He knows how to finish around the rim. That much has been proven. Miller, jump hook. And controlled by Orton. The acceleration by Wall. Stepping Miller. Book it for 3. The young guys rising to the occasion. A blocking foul called as Orton took a seat.
Well, Ian, in the first 7.5 minutes, John Calipari has gotten his answer about whether or not his team was going to show up with focus, fight, and intensity. The defense has been excellent, and the offensive execution has been outstanding.
And Roy Williams, you see that sling that he's wearing, surgery to repair a torn labrum, left shoulder, happened in early October. He slipped at a charity event. Had a chance to spend some time with Roy earlier. He said, yeah, it's been painful, but he's getting through it. Same surgery that his former All-America Brandon Wright had. Yeah, plays out with the Golden State Warriors. And he said, hey, look, we are going through the same thing, but I've already coached. You're out for the year. What's the deal here?
Right. He was jabbing him a little bit. A long recovery in store for Roy Williams. If he can get past the next couple of weeks, then the rehab is expected to be about 3 months or so. His team needs to rehab its offense here. Drew steps up.
And that quiets the crowd, at least for a moment. And it ends a 16-0 run First points for North Carolina in over 4 minutes of game action. And we'll step aside with 11:58 to go in this first half. North Carolina, Kentucky. We've got it for you on CBS. The showdown coming up in Atlanta. We'll have it for you here on CBS. Vern Lundquist, Gary Danielson, Tracy Wolfson, and the rest of our college football crew. Number 1 Florida, number 2 Alabama, and the winner will move on for a right to play for the national championship.
It's kind of like a semifinal game at the Final Four. When you talk about what's at stake,
that's
the quality of those two teams.
Drew sets it up inside, and the turnaround for Zeller. It's short.
Well, he rushed that just a bit. It seemed as though he lost the ball as well. But he's got a size advantage on Cousins. But when he catches it that close to the rim, he should just take his time and get into the shot that he wants.
And that was a big question coming in. How do the young Tar Heels handle the intense atmosphere of Rupp Arena?
And this is the first true road game for North Carolina as well. That's always a little different. Neutral court games are one thing. Obviously, being at home, you're comfortable. You go into a hostile environment against a team the caliber of Kentucky. You find out something about your young players and your team.
David Ware has checked in, one half of the Ware twins, both McDonald's All-Americas. There's Thompson.
That's his shot. He loves that turnaround going over his right shoulder.
Miller gets it ahead. Patterson to the hoop. Patrick Patterson filling the lane. And Kentucky giving North Carolina a taste of its own medicine. Strip. Thompson couldn't hold on to it. Loose ball controlled by the Wildcats. Harris gets it ahead for Wall, who will slow things down.
Nice discretion there. Good decision. Numbers were not in Kentucky's favor, so he backs it out. They've executed well in the half court by throwing the ball in the paint. They're winning points in the paint and fast break points so far.
Count it! And a foul to Marcus Cousins with an excuse me, baby hook.
This may be a step or two outside of his range, but he got it up with a good follow-through as he was bumped by Zeller. Ginyard was late trying to come down and dig on the post player there, and Cousins with a chance for a three-point play.
He's got a polished game for a young big man.
He sure does, Ian. I love his footwork, and he's a wide body down there. That's too deep. He'll hurt you down there.
Almost got the roll. He will shoot a pair. So there's one freshman, DeMarcus Cousins. Here's the other, number 1 freshman of the country, John Wall.
Tremendous acceleration and change of pace. Crossover, then the nice finish here underneath with the left hand. He's got the full package, the beautiful assist. And right now, Kentucky, Ian, doing everything that John Calipari talked about in yesterday's practice. We want a fast break. We don't want them to fast break. We want to own the paint and score the ball in there. They're doing that. We want to dig down when their post players catch it and make it tough for them to score. So everything so far checking out nicely for Kentucky in terms of their game plan.
Right now they're doubling up North Carolina, 22-11. We approach the halfway point of this first half. Half-court set here for the Tar Heels. Ware denied by Patterson. And retrieved by Drew. Drew lines it up. Can't hit the three. Patterson gets it ahead for Wall. A dart up the floor for Cousins. And over the back call against the freshman Cousins. Now we asked John Calipari about John Wall. He's had talented freshmen, Derrick Rose, Tyreek Evans at Memphis. Calipari said Wall is farther along at this stage than either one of those two players. And he felt those two players had maybe better teams and veterans around them.
Exactly.
Wall's had to do a little bit more in the leadership category.
He certainly has, and he has been terrific in every aspect. Had a couple of games where he turned it over a bit, but you watch his demeanor and disposition, the way he interacts with his teammates, the way he interacts with Coach Calipari. He understands what they're trying to do as a team, and he's comfortable being the quarterback.
A 20-2 run. North Carolina having a tough time just getting into their sets offensively.
Well, one thing that Kentucky has been able to do because they've been so good offensively here, Ian, is they've made North Carolina play in the half court.
Dodson following his own miss, and he's tripped on the perimeter by Deon Thompson. Darnell Dodson, a sophomore from Greenbelt, Maryland, junior college transfer, Miami-Dade Community College. And anybody John Calipari has put on the floor has produced so far.
Exactly. Daniel Orton, presence inside at both ends of the floor. Harris is an active role player.
Second foul against Thompson for North Carolina. And Thompson remains in there. Wall turns the corner. Dodson's open. That's a three.
It's really hard to get your fast break going when you're taking the ball out of the basket, as North Carolina is here. And in the half court, they've struggled to get anything good.
Davis tried to hook a pass inside. Kentucky looking to run. Wall to the open court. Wall lays it in. John Wall hits hyperspeed. And a chance at a three-point play.
Simply electrifying. The ability to finish with both hands, and if he's got defenders backpedaling, it is over. You hear me? If you're backpedaling trying to defend this guy, forget about it. Just grab him, because you're not keeping him from getting to the bucket.
Larry Drew picks up his first, and Wall to the free throw line, trying to extend this Kentucky lead. 27-11, Wildcats. 80% shooter. Wow, what a run.
Absolutely scintillating. Now let's see how Carolina handles this pressure. This Kentucky team is amped up defensively. Ball pressure, moving their feet inside against the post players, digging in whenever a guy catches it in the post. They are playing like Wildcats.
Ever since. The turnover for the senior. One field goal for North Carolina. Last 17 possessions. Inside, a foul is called. Patterson was hacked on the interior. The freshman for Kentucky. Wall, Cousins, Bledsoe, all not only contributors, but leading the way for this Kentucky team along with Patrick Patterson.
All producing at a very high level. They call themselves the Three Amigos. They get along extremely well off the court, and obviously are having a party here so far today on the court.
I think even Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Chevy Chase would have to give it up that these are the Three Amigos in 2009. And Patterson, second attempt.
Well, they have stunned North Carolina. And the inability to get anything going offensively has kept North Carolina on its heels.
28-2 in favor of Kentucky.
That's a
North Carolina had it cooking.
Yeah, it's a blitzkrieg here. And now you have to play in the half court, which puts a lot of pressure on your dribble ability, your breakdown ability. Nice shot there by Will Brady. Yeah, you got to knock down some perimeter shots now. Kentucky is very content to play half-court defense against North Carolina. They don't want North Carolina in transition.
Wide open look, Dodson. Bottom, a three.
Well, I tell you, when you got a guy like Wall and Bledsoe that can turn the corner and break you down defensively, and you got shooters around them, it's a pick your poison. Really difficult to defend a team like that.
33-14, Kentucky. Ginyard lines it up, and he knocks it down, a triple. Off a made basket, Bledsoe wastes no time rushing it up the floor.
They're looking to probe early, Ian. If they can get it in the paint off the dribble or pass, that's what they want to do. Puts a lot of pressure on your defense if they get it into that paint area. Now probably pick and roll. No, they're going to get the floor to Bledsoe here.
Outside, jump shot doesn't go for Miller. And out of bounds. North Carolina will have the basketball. Kentucky, strong showing this first half against the Tar Heels.
Gotta get dip. Gotta get dip. Gotta get dip. Gotta get dip. Gotta get dip.
Look at the game summary here at Rupp Arena. Kentucky shooting lights out, 13 of 21. Clark, you talked about it before the game. The turnovers would be such a huge key, especially with two young rosters.
Without question, both teams come in averaging 17 turnovers per game, and you see Carolina already halfway there. And as a result, they've gotten 6 less shot attempts. When you turn it over, you don't get a chance to put the ball in the basket. So to get back into it, now they're down 16. Kentucky has had a blistering run here. You just saw there, 31-8 or whatever it was. Now, North Carolina simply has to take care of the ball, try to get some stops defensively so they get a chance to play more in the open court before that defense of Kentucky's is able to get established. Now you can quick hit them, but if you're taking the ball out of the basket, you're going to have to play half court, and that puts a lot of pressure on areas that are still in transition for North Carolina, the perimeter shooting and the ability to break people down off the court.
North Carolina 6-5 all time at Rupp Arena. 86-77 win here in December of 2007. That could beat Kentucky 5 straight meetings. This is the 32nd all-time meeting between these two storied programs.
I think this guy here, Will Graves, is going to be a key guy for North Carolina. That's a poor shot because he shot a challenge jumper before they moved the defense. Good defense getting back. That was Dexter Strickland making a nice play.
And a foul call. So Wall tried to get the ball back in the backcourt. He'll pick up the personal.
You see Roy Williams there. He was really upset with Will Graves for taking that challenge jump shot. He wants him to aggressively drive the basketball. Graves sat out last year, actually was suspended. Played a lot the year before. And really, I think, is a key guy for North Carolina going forward because he can get his own shot. He's a physical wing who also has three-point shooting ability. And it's just going to take him a little time to get his game legs back under him after missing so much game action last year.
That's Travis Ware, who just had it negated.
Both of these teams have tremendous size on the interior, and that's Perry Stevenson, I think, who reached up and swatted that one away.
Major wingspan for the senior from Lafayette, Louisiana. Shot clock is at 13. 10 to shoot. Strickland against Wall. Strickland a 3. He knocks it down. Dexter Strickland from Rahway, New Jersey, McDonald's All-America. 3 state titles in high school with St. Patrick's in Elizabeth, New Jersey. It's 33-20 Kentucky. We come up on 6 minutes to go in this first half.
Carolina showing some zone here.
Wall will shoot over it and connects a 3. The full repertoire so far today from John Wall. And a kick ball. Graves was in trouble out along the sideline. He was fortunate. Well, you could beat the crowd to get your favorite NCAA gear when you shop online. CBS Sports Store. You'll save big on all officially licensed jerseys, caps, and more. Just go to CBSSportsStore.com. Ian Eagle, Clark Kellogg, the rest of our CBS crew. Season debut of NCAA basketball here on CBS, your home for the Final Four. The race to Indianapolis, 29th consecutive Final Four here on CBS, and we're just thrilled to be a part of it.
Yes, sir. Great to be here opening up the season in Rupp Arena with 2 heavyweights in college basketball going at it.
Ware turns and can't hit along the baseline. Cousins will clear it for Kentucky. 16-point lead for the Wildcats. They come in ranked 5th in the country. Back in. Cousins, double team. And a foul called on a reach. McDonald tried to help on the weak side. Big shoes to fill, you betcha. They won the national championship. Hansbrough, Lawson, Ellington, Green, all superb performers.
And Wayne Ellington was fantastic. When Ty Lawson was wrestling with his foot injury, Ellington really elevated his play. Hansbrough was Hansbrough. A right around 20 and just about 9 rebounds a game. And that group came back last year with the mission of going after a national championship, and they were not going to be denied. They were as impressive as any championship team we've had in the NCAA tournament in the last 15 years or so in terms of how well they played and their margin of victory running to that championship.
When they won the title in 2005, Clark, they lost everybody. They went 23-8 in 2006, 12-4 in the ACC. Roy Williams has been through this before. And they've been able to restock this roster quite nicely.
Well, they've got some nice talent. They're young, and there's an errant pass as Wall right in the passing lane.
And Wall leans in for the deuce.
Tremendous body control.
And Kentucky extends the lead, 39-20, under 5 minutes to go first half. Drew makes his move underneath.
Out, it seems like.
And tipped in. Ed Davis, who has not gotten into the action yet. Out of bounds. Kentucky turns it over.
Well, it's hard to get into the action when you're being swarmed if you catch it. And many times, North Carolina, because of Kentucky's defensive pressure, has not been able to get the ball inside. And then we factor in the turnovers, so there haven't been a lot of opportunities for number 32 to go to work inside for North Carolina.
Last meeting was November of last year. North Carolina crushed Kentucky 77-58. Thompson had 20 points and 9 rebounds in that game. And another North Carolina turnover. Patterson had a no-show.
Yeah, he's made 5 threes this year, which is twice as many as he made in his first 2 seasons combined. Really worked on that particular shot.
Wall, a little too high for Patterson on the alley-oop feed. Thompson, they rush him quickly, and Thompson is fouled by Cousins. Free throws coming up for the senior from Torrance, California, Deon Thompson. And more first half action as we continue from Lexington. Right now, let's take a look at today's AT&T in-game analysis, Clark.
Well, you look at the perimeter shooting for Carolina. That's 9 of 21 combined. Not good enough. Points in the paint. Kentucky doing exactly what they game plan to do, dominate that area, and then squeezing the orange. 10 turnovers for North Carolina, 7 for Kentucky. But more importantly, 19-7 points off turnovers in favor of Kentucky. And there's John Wall coming right at you, folks. He dumped that one in. He got into the lane and pitched it to an open shooter. Miller splashes the 3 in transition. Patrick Patterson running the floor. So John Wall having his hand in on a lot of the offensive production for Kentucky here in the first half.
How quickly has this program been able to turn it around? They are in the top 5 in the rankings for the first time since 2002. Currently ranked number 5 in the country, undefeated at 7-0. Deon Thompson. Thompson waited his turn with North Carolina in the shadow of Tyler Hansbrough. He's been a blue-collar player for Roy Williams, a complimentary piece in the past. Now getting his opportunity, averaging just over 17 points and 8 rebounds per game. 39-23, Kentucky, just under 4 minutes to play in this first half. Wall nearly lost it. They double up on him, finding the open man, Miller. The leaner. Strong rebound by Davis.
Well, that was excellent use of the shot fake by Miller. And you're right, a big-time rebound that time by Davis, and another turnover for Carolina.
Wall's got the angle, and he draws the foul on Ginyard. And coming up, AT&T at the half. Clark and I will have the latest scores, plus Clark's predictions for this college basketball season, and we'll check in with our crew in Atlanta. SEC Championship game preview. It's all coming up on AT&T at the half.
Prediction? That's a little more pressure than actually looking at the landscape.
Was that not in the format?
Yeah, I didn't see it there. We'll adjust, though. We are flexible here. We'll make it happen.
McDonald will sit. He's replaced by Will Graves. Second foul on Ginyard.
One shot.
Free throws so far, 4 of 9 for Kentucky. And John Wall. He's got speed, he's got vision, he's explosive, he's fluid.
Yeah, he's got size. I mean, he's legitimate 6'4".
The whole package of the point guard position. Graves, high arcing delivery, had to adjust it. Josh Harrelson has come in for Kentucky. Ginyard, a 3. And it's rebounded by Patterson, one of the best rebounders in the nation. Up ahead for Wall. That's a trap.
Yeah, that is. That time a little undecided as to what he wanted to do. And as a result, he turned it over. So I guess you can get in front of him and stop him. Early on, the way he was going, looked like that couldn't happen. But these next 3 minutes here, North Carolina has to find a way, one, to make sure they get a shot every time down. The turnovers have really disrupted any kind of rhythm that they would have hoped to have here. They've got to make sure they get a high-quality shot every trip.
And Zeller. Nice give and go on his way to the rim. 2-man game with Graves.
And just be solid here defensively. Control your defensive backboard. Right? Force it. You got to force a couple of misses. There you see the big number there. Points off turnovers. +10. In favor of Kentucky thus far.
Spread the floor. It's Wall. Trying to take it around Strickland. Pull up pop. Rims out. Rebounded Davis for the Tar Heels. Strickland tried to accelerate, net by Wall. We approach 2 minutes to go in this first half. On a dump down. Davis in heavy traffic. Little bump. And it goes down for Tyler Zeller, the sophomore from Washington, Indiana. Slender, long arms. And now John Calipari has seen enough. He takes a timeout with 2:02 left on the clock. North Carolina trying to make a late first half run against Kentucky. Some teams around the nation who have made some splashes in the early part of the season, including a program that's close to my heart.
Right there. I'm not saying that just because it's your alma mater, but that team has a chance to really be good. All of these teams obviously have gotten off to nice starts. Florida, maybe a bit surprising to some. Gonzaga's defense, very impressive in winning at Maui. And West Virginia has a pair of forwards that I think are the best tandem perhaps in the country, in Deshaun Butler and Devin Ebanks. They can do everything at both ends of the floor and are tough matchups for just about anybody they face.
And you'll see Gonzaga coming up.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks from today against Duke.
We'll have it for you right here on CBS. Kentucky 40, North Carolina 27. Jump shot. Dodson, a 3 doesn't go. Rebounded by Zeller for North Carolina. Strickland gets it ahead. John Henson has come back in. The freshman from Tampa, Florida. Davis looked for the discard of Cousins. He held his ground. And Patterson comes up with a loose ball. Bounced off the bottom of the backboard. Graves couldn't finish it. And Henson is fouled.
Well, the last 3 possessions, Carolina has been able to get a shot. They got a layup from Zeller. They got it in the paint, missed the shot, but got the putback. And here on this possession, they get the ball in the paint, and they get an opportunity for a second shot. That's why you have to get shots when you have the size that Carolina has, because it gives you a chance, even if you miss, to utilize that strength and size in the paint area on the putback opportunity.
And what's the common theme? You just said in the paint 4 times.
That's right.
I'm not sure they got it in the paint 4 times in all of their previous possessions combined.
Well, when you're throwing it to the other team, you can't get it in the paint.
Henson at the free throw line. He can play multiple positions for this North Carolina team. He'll have time to develop some muscle, but you can see the framework.
Oh, yeah, is there. Oh, yeah. Nice shooting stroke, too. Excellent rotation. Little court pressure here. Got to make sure you keep him out of the middle, though, John Wall.
Finds the open man. Harris didn't want the jump shot. He gives it up for Miller. Just over a minute left in this first half. North Carolina has cut the Kentucky lead to 12. Wall using the high screen. Patterson, that's a 3. Knocks it down. Patrick Patterson has added to his game.
That's one of the reasons he decided to stay in college. He's going to graduate in 3 years, and he wanted to expand his perimeter game and play for a coach the caliber of Calipari.
Entry feed. Zeller discard. Tip in, no. Henson had it blocked by Patterson and knocked out of bounds. Kentucky ball.
Well, what a tremendous challenge at the rim. I don't know who got it, whether it was Patterson or Stevenson, but excellent work by Carolina to get multiple shot opportunities, but just as impressive, the denial by Kentucky.
11 points, 5 rebounds for Patterson. And the shot clock and game clock are all lined up. So Kentucky can hold for one. 12 national championships between these two programs. 7 for Kentucky, 5 for North Carolina. John Calipari's squad, the preseason pick to win the SEC title. And what a turnaround after coming up with the #1 recruiting class in the nation.
They want to get to work as North Carolina going to try to scramble them up here, but Kentucky wants to go to work at about the 8 to 10 second mark. That way you give yourself a chance for hopefully a good shot, and if you miss it, maybe a putback opportunity.
10 seconds left. Wall against Strickland. 6 seconds left. Miller gives it up. Patterson an open look. Rebounded by Zeller. 1 second, and that's it. The Kentucky Wildcats with an impressive half at home in a heavyweight battle against North Carolina.
I think we may have 3/10 of a second for a violation of the shot clock, because there was just a slight gap between game and shot clock, but we're calling it the end of the half. Tony Green says we're done.
End of the first half here in Lexington. Kentucky 43, North Carolina 28. We'll send you to Tim Brando in Atlanta with AT&T at the half after these messages. You're watching CBS Sports, the exclusive home of the men's NCAA basketball championship. Just about set for second half action here in Kentucky. 43-28. Wildcats leading North Carolina. Let's take a look at the Bud Light first half stats. Everything in favor of the Wildcats so far.
How about fast break points, 12 zip, and then the points off turnovers +9. North Carolina, if the Tar Heels are going to get back into this game in this half, they've got to take care of the ball, make sure they get good shots. They took 30 shots. A number of those were off second chance opportunities. So they've got to execute and make sure they get that ball inside a little more to Thompson and Davis. They combined to only take 9 field goal attempts, and they've got to be up in that 12, 14 FGAs. Between both of them, I mean, they've got to combine to take 22, 24, 25 shots a game.
Raucous atmosphere in the first half, especially from that eruption zone, which is the first come, first serve student section. And they started camping out on Wednesday, making sure that their ticket would be punched inside Rupp Arena for this prime time matchup today. Kentucky and North Carolina, second half is underway. Ian Eagle, Clark Kellogg, the rest of our CBS crew, our season debut of NCAA Hoops on CBS. And they get the call. Kentucky turns it over to start this second half. Largest lead is the 19 for the Wildcats. See what adjustments Roy Williams makes in this second half. Guard play. Larry Drew got off to a good start, and then they just hit a long lull offensively. Ginyard held the 3 points in the first half. He comes in averaging just over 11 per game. Graves constricted. Short on a 3. And it's rebounded by Orton, who gets the start in the second half. Harris makes a cut and slams it down. So Ramon Harris and Daniel Orton both starting the second half. And John Wall moving a little bit gimpy on on the defensive side, and he just made a motion to Calipari that he needs a sub.
Wearing a pad on his right knee, and he's looking to try to get out of the game. He's really in some pain.
Jump shot, Thompson. He nails it. And a timeout called by Kentucky.
Boy, you see the frustration on the face of John Wall. I'm not sure if it's a cramp or if he did something to that right knee.
Wall makes his way to the Kentucky sideline. We step aside. Kentucky trainer Chris Simmons working on the left leg of John Wall. You see Rod Strickland, the assistant coach for Kentucky, off to the side of Wall. He has been just spectacular.
Yeah, young fella has been handling his business today. Setting up other people, getting his own, active at the defensive end. I mean, he's been as advertised. So his inability to go right now would be interesting to watch. Bledsoe started in place of, actually stepped up in a big way in a game that John Wall was not able to play the first game this season.
Horton unable to convert on the inside. Harris tracks down the loose ball. So Bledsoe will man the point guard position for Kentucky. And that's his background.
Yeah.
A pass-first point guard. That was the scouting report coming out of high school. From Birmingham, Alabama, Parker High School. Jump shot, Miller, no. And rebounded by North Carolina. Drew pushes. Ginyard trying to turn the corner. And it's knocked out of bounds by Harris, a savvy senior from Anchorage, Alaska.
We have not seen many fast break opportunities for North Carolina. A credit to Kentucky's offensive efficiency, but also they're very cognizant of getting back in transition defensively. They worked on that extensively in practice yesterday.
Drew the teardrop. Larry Drew the second. John Wall has gone to the Kentucky locker room. He's left the bench. Get you an update as soon as we receive it. Harris looking down low. Orton was trying to make himself available. The curl. Well, let's see how this Kentucky offense runs.
I was thinking exactly the same thing.
Bledsoe.
Well, he's hurt. Bledsoe twisted that ankle yesterday in practice, so he is not 100%. And he gets called for a walk there.
So Eric Bledsoe, who plays bigger than he is. He's 6'1", 190, but because of that leaping ability, 40-inch vertical leap, and the wingspan, plays more like a 6'3", 6'4 type player. Bledsoe did not start the second half, and neither did DeMarcus Cousins. Now Cousins will check in. Calipari makes that change. Harris will sit, replaced by Darnell Dodson. This is a 13-point game. North Carolina well within striking distance. We're just underway in the second half.
And Carolina has really gotten a good shot every trip down here to start this half, which is critically important if they're going to come all the way back.
Drew with a looping feed. Henson lines it up. Rainbow delivery doesn't go. Ginyard, big-time rebound on the weak side.
Oh, that sure was.
Davis ball fake, and he draws the foul. A push on the inside. So the tempo beginning to shift. And Ed Davis going to the free throw. It's only on CBS. Ed Davis is Dad Terry, played in the NBA for 10 years with Miami, Dallas, Denver, and Washington. Terry played his college ball at Virginia Union, Division II powerhouse. Harris will check in. 64% shooter. The sophomore. Doesn't get the roll. Patterson picked up that foul, his first for Kentucky. Well, hit 3 minutes gone by in this second half. 45-33 Wildcats. Bledsoe. Oh, swatted down by Davis. He got the full hand on that one.
There's not a lot of room, even if you turn the corner, when you go against Carolina's defense because of that guy there. Terrific shot blocker. Extensive wingspan and excellent timing.
And the first block of the day for the Tar Heels. Cousins ball fake. And Davis comes over to help on the offside. threading the needle. Thompson is fouled.
Wow.
By Cousins.
And he took a hard fall, bounces right back up. Boy, Cousins fortunate that that wasn't called an intentional foul. Excellent pass by Drew the second. Boy, I tell you, that could have been an intentional foul there because that was excessive. There was really no play on the ball. Cousins very fortunate that he doesn't get whistled for that. And what a nice finish by Deon Thompson. Concentration.
And DeMarcus Cousins now heads to the bench with his third personal foul.
This young man has really developed every year. As you take a look at DeMarcus Cousins, Deon Thompson has just made steady improvement in his game. Roy Williams told us before the game that he and Marcus Ginyard have kind of shared the leadership role for this young team.
Harris trying to leave it up top for Orton, unable to tip it in. North Carolina has cut it to single digits. Drew on a kick out. Davis to the hoop, and he banks it home. Tar Heels are within 7. Timeout, Kentucky. 10-2 run this half for Roy Williams' squad. 45-38, Kentucky. Tough stretch here for North Carolina. Played Michigan State, ranked number 9 in the polls. Kentucky today, ranked 5th. Presbyterian coming up. They are not ranked, Clark.
No, they are not ranked, but a tough stretch, and that's part of the reason you go to North Carolina to play teams like this. Michigan State, Kentucky, and Texas coming up on the 19th. Should be a terrific matchup. Both teams have tremendous presence inside and young developing players on the perimeter.
See if Kentucky can settle down here without their leader, John Wall.
Well, the defense is picked up for North Carolina. I know John Wall's absence really takes Kentucky out of its natural rhythm, and he's as electrifying a player as there is in college basketball, but this was starting to change before he left.
Drew.
Oh, what a nice block by Orton.
Daniel Orton denies Henson, and it leads to a break. Patterson rocks the rim. Wow.
That was just strength by Orton.
47-38, that re-energized the crowd here at Rupp. Thompson one-on-one with Patterson. Good box out there from Dodson. Bledsoe, putting forward. Goaltending, count it for the freshman Eric Bledsoe. A little spurt here for the Wildcats, set up by their defense. Kentucky extends 49-38, second half. Time for this week's college basketball headlines. Clark, Big 12 teams, number 1 and number 2 in the AP poll with Kansas and Texas. 7 new teams entering the Associated Press poll. And how about the Big 10? Strong showing against the ACC this week.
Finally, the Big 10 got one against the ACC.
But it was North Carolina knocking off Michigan State 89-82 on Tuesday. Tar Heels, though, turned it over 17 times.
And you saw there also the 7 new teams into the AP top 25. Well, I think it's the kind of year outside of the top 8 or 9, maybe 10 teams, there will be a pretty good number of deck shuffles as we move through the rest of the basketball season because of the parity below that top 10.
Running one-hander doesn't go for Ginyard. Had it negated as he tried to recover. And Darius Miller there defensively. The official word on John Wall. Cramping up. And his return up in the air.
Well, a dunk and a layup off of good defense the last 2 possessions by Kentucky pushed the lead back to double digits, and that time Bledsoe went where you don't like to go as a dribbler and a point guard underneath the goal with nowhere to pass.
The cutter, Davis. And muscles it up, no good, but a foul called on Daniel Orton. So free throws coming up.
That was on number 33, Daniel Orton. His third team 30.
Now Orton is only a freshman himself. Good skills in the post. Got a knee injury his senior year of high school in Oklahoma City. That kept him out for the majority of the year. Came back for the playoffs.
You know, watching him yesterday in practice, he moves his body well, and he's got a nice shooting touch. So as he continues to get stronger and recover from that knee injury and get confident, he's already shown that he can be a real presence inside blocking shots.
And this is where Roy Williams will make a line change for North Carolina as he sends in 3 new players, including Dexter Strickland. Tyler Zeller is in there along with David Ware.
Well, I like what North Carolina is doing here. No turnovers here in the second half. Getting the ball inside and getting good shots every trip down.
9-point game.
And they've also picked it up defensively.
Patterson sticking with the play. Patrick Patterson gets the deuce. You know, he grew up a big Moses Malone fan, and that's how Moses made his living.
That's right. Chase it down when you miss it before anybody else can react to it. When you shoot it in tight, you know whether it's going in or not and where you've missed it.
15 points, 6 rebounds for Patterson. There's a rebounding machine. Open look. Zeller lines it up. And it's rebounded by Dodson for Kentucky. An 11-point cushion for the Wildcats.
They can pop here for Patterson. He can make that. That's just good basketball there, man.
Strickland pull-up jump.
That's not good basketball.
One and done.
Yep. Had success moving the ball and getting it inside. And the young fellow there, Dexter Strickland, takes the challenge jump shot without any ball movement.
North Carolina, no field goals over its last 8 possessions. They have scored at the free throw line on a dump down. Off the double, Dodson's open. And the 3 rolls around the rim, no good.
Kid has a nice looking stroke, doesn't he? You feel like it's going in every time he sends it towards the rim.
Strickland looking for the open man. Zeller. Nice use of the offhand.
It sure was. That's a thing of beauty there after he had a tough time reeling the ball in. But good footwork and a nice finish. Going away from the defense. That's why you've got to be able to use both hands when you play with your back to the basket.
Zeller's put on 30 pounds since showing up on the North Carolina campus. Squeezing through defenders. Bledsoe got fouled by Ware.
They were looking for the lob there. That's that dribble drive lob. They turn the corner and that big guy runs to the rim. The guard looks as though he's shooting a teardrop and he's really trying to tee up a teammate. Really tough to defend that when you get dribble penetration.
And Kentucky making changes. Ramon Harris has checked in. DeMarcus Cousins joins him. Change for North Carolina as Ginyard will now take a seat. So they will go very young here. Larry Drew the second and Dexter Strickland in the backcourt for the Tar Heels. We approach 12 minutes to play, second half. Kentucky with a 53-42 lead. Bledsoe off balance. And it's rebounded by Davis.
You can see that young man just doesn't have the lift and the stop-and-go ability that he normally has because of the ankle injury. Talking about Eric Bledsoe. He's gutting it out and giving a terrific effort, but he clearly is not 100%. But with John Wall still not back on the bench after leaving with cramps. John Calipari's team a little short-handed at the backcourt position.
Third foul on Bledsoe. Open look, doesn't go for Drew. Knocked outside to Davis. North Carolina trying to cut it to single digits again. Here's Drew. Strickland entry and controlled by Kentucky. Dodson comes away with it. Long stride for Dodson to the hoop, forcing the action, and he draws the foul. Second half. Freshman phenom John Wall will check back into the game. 13 points, 6 assists. And Wall forced to leave early in this second half, cramping in his left leg.
Well, part
They're still working on it.
Yeah, Chris Simmons still going to work with that rough stick. But you wonder a lot of times, as the dad of a couple of college student athletes myself, sometimes young people have a tough time in understanding the importance of hydration and fueling up 2-3 days prior. I know they get told about it constantly, but sometimes they don't apply what they're told. I'm not sure if that's the case or not, but you start thinking about that when you see young players cramp up, as John Wall did a few moments ago.
And Bledsoe will check in first. That was the first free throw attempt of the half for Bledsoe.
I tell you what, if that is the case with John Wall, it won't happen again. No. Not from that standpoint. If in fact that is what's caused the cramps, and again, I'm not sure if that is the case.
Dodson gets the roll on the second attempt, and here comes Wall for Kentucky. Fans will react.
Well, he's still grimacing. Let's see if in fact he can be his dynamic self out here. I mean, his presence is welcome, even if he's not 100%, but we'll see how effective he can be. Well, if I was Carolina, I'd try to attack him in some form or fashion.
They were outscored 14-8 with Wall out. Zeller muscling his way in. Big thump and the foul. Tyler Zeller going to the free throw line. A chance at a three-point play. Later today, Tim Tebow and the #1 Gators tangle with Mark Ingram and the #2 Crimson Tide, a shot at the national title. The SEC Championship game on CBS, presented by Dr. Pepper. The buildup begins with the TIAA Crest College Football Today. Fourth foul on Orton. And Zeller missing at the line.
Carolina leaving some lettuce at that line. They're doing a nice job getting to the line, but they're not cashing in effectively enough, particularly since they're trailing. They got there 6 times, 4 of 6. They made a few in the first half.
And a step in by Zeller, a steal, as he jumped in front of Patterson. Right down the middle, Davis. And last touch by the North Carolina big man, out of bounds. Turnover, Tar Heels.
Only the third turnover of the half for North Carolina after 11 in that first half. So doing a pretty good job in that department here in the second half. Roy Williams continues to shuffle players in. Feels like his guys deserve to play, and he wants everybody to get minutes, and he also is hoping that perhaps he can wear down Kentucky a little bit.
And he's got both Ware brothers in. There's a double team. Cousins probably thought he had double vision for a second. David Ware and Travis Ware defensively. Oh, big time hops. Dexter Strickland breaking free for the dunk. 54-46. North Carolina's been able to hang around and making its move in the second half.
Really become a half-court game for the most part here in the second half, Ian. I would think that probably favors North Carolina because they've got more big guys that can get it done inside offensively and defensively.
And the help defense from Deion Thompson, the block, Strickland the acceleration, offensive board, and slapped out of there by Harris. Well, Thompson had an opportunity to cut it to 6. Halfway point of this second half. Fans on their feet at Rupp. Wall trying to make a cut. 3-on-1 developing. Thompson. And knocked out cleanly. Darius Miller, last line of defense for Kentucky.
He did a nice job here, but I thought that Strickland had one of the Ware brothers on his right side there for an easier shot. 3-on-2. You feel like you should be landing in the basket there if you're North Carolina.
8 blocks on the day for Kentucky. We've got 9:40 to go in regulation. Kentucky with a 54-46 lead over North Carolina. Ware, the jumper, knocks it down from deep. David Ware. The twins are from Mater Dei High School out of Santa Ana, California. Their dad, David, played at Fresno State and Cal State Fullerton. Also played professional overseas. Turnaround, Patterson with a smooth delivery.
Well, that's a big-time move there against pretty good defense.
The other Ware brother unable to hit. Lead pass. Stevenson got that long reach, but not quite long enough. Out of bounds. 56-49. John Calipari's team in front. They've led by as many as 19. We've got under 9 minutes to go in this second half. And John Wall will now take a seat. It just wasn't the same guy out there.
Exactly. And we wondered what his ability to be effective would be. And from what we just saw, not very.
9-3 run for the Tar Heels.
And you like the way they're methodically doing this, Ian. They're really not expending a ton of energy. And John Wall going to come back. But again, you're right. He wasn't the attacking, aggressive player that he was in the first half as he replaces Darius Miller. And because North Carolina has been more efficient offensively, the runouts that Kentucky enjoyed, I mean, they had 18-4 advantage in fast break points in that first half. That's been non-existent here in the second half.
North Carolina unable to get the ball in cleanly. It happened right in front of Roy Williams. Turnover for the Tar Heels this half. Patterson, hop step, tied up, and knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Carolina.
I'll tell you, you go in the paint against either one of these teams, you better go strong. You better squeeze it, get your body between that defender, be on balance, and be ready to finish strong, whether it's a shot or a pass.
Wall on a kick out, Bledsoe. Can't get the three to drop. It's rebounded by Thompson. 7-point differential. We come up on 8 minutes to go in this second half. Ginyard being watched by Bledsoe. Ginyard makes his move and a push out front. That'll be number 4 on Eric Bledsoe. So a change for Calipari. Dodson in, Bledsoe will sit.
That's the 6th. That's the 16th foul on Kentucky. Carolina with only 2 now. So anytime you're trying to come back, if you can get to that bonus, you'd love to do it. To have a chance to get some points with the clock stopped. Carolina in a very positive position here in that regard. So attack inside. Don't force anything outside.
Thompson. Fans wanted to travel.
He held the pivot foot down.
Strickland using the Ware screen. Shot clock at 12. Harris nearly knocked it away. Entry. Thompson discard. Layup doesn't go. Thompson sticking with the play. And Stevenson able to clean the glass. Wall. Got the step. Scoops it in. Foul called on the floor before the shot. Timeout with 7:29 left in Lexington. Look at the game summary. Kentucky leads by 7 here in the second half.
And the turnovers, a big difference here in the second half. That's 9 turnovers in the half for Kentucky versus only 3 for North Carolina. A big part of why North Carolina's been able to come back.
Well, for Kentucky, it's been the consistent play of their big man, Patrick Patterson.
P squared, producing. He's been a presence defensively, and he certainly has scored the ball effectively. Very efficient, 8 of 12 shooting for Patrick Patterson. He's also got 6 rebounds, a block shot, and a steal. He's been out there most of the game. He's played 30 minutes thus far.
Harris looking to get it in. He does on the perimeter for Dodson. We are down to 7:25 left in regulation. Kentucky leads at 56-49. Dodson thought about it. And the leaner.
Very nice.
Dodson was going to play at Memphis. Originally had signed with Pittsburgh back in 2007, but didn't qualify. Now a big part of this Kentucky rotation and a foul called. Now you mentioned it, North Carolina, if they can stay aggressive, they're going to get their opportunities at the free throw line, and the 7th team foul against John Calipari's squad.
North Carolina on the season thus far, only a 67% free throw shooting team. So let's keep track of how many opportunities they get at the line and how many they convert over the next 7 minutes.
1-1 for Davis. It's an air ball.
Okay, so you don't even get the bonus there.
Wasted opportunity for North Carolina. 58-49, Kentucky, just under 7 minutes to go. Wall matched up with Drew. Ball movement, Dodson couldn't catch it. Uncontested, Drew to the hoop for two.
Nicely done by Will Graves. You see that pass? He had just enough air under it to lead Drew right into the layup. That was a little thing, but a big thing in that situation.
Tar Heels cut it to 7. Wall makes his move. Off the curl, he draws the foul. John Wall on CBS. Well, John Wall, everybody curious, why did North Carolina not offer him the scholarship? Roy Williams recruited him a great deal, but when push came to shove, decided to go in a different direction. He was asked about it, didn't want to get into heavy details, and said, look, sometimes the shoe just doesn't fit.
That's exactly right. You don't have to say anymore. Every high-profile kid that's in your neighborhood or in your state isn't necessarily a good fit from your standpoint or sometimes from the kid's standpoint. Sometimes kids want to go outside of their area.
Drew a jump shot. And strong rebound by Patterson. Run out for Wall, cutting right down the middle. That one almost went down.
But no balance back. Oh, Patrick Patterson stayed back. The numbers still.
The dish and slam by Ginyard. And North Carolina continues to climb back into it. Under 6 minutes to play. It's a 6-point lead for Kentucky.
And John Wall went all the way to the goal. There was no defensive balance, and Patrick Patterson was trying to defend 4 Tar Heels on that breakout.
Stevenson on a lob too high. Out of bounds. Last cut by Thompson. So Kentucky will retain it with 15 to shoot. Stevenson will sit. DeMarcus Cousins, who has had a long stretch watching from the bench, checks back in, the freshman.
Well, he's got tremendous physical tools, a strong, big body, good feet, excellent hands, but he has to grow up a bit. Has shown signs of some immaturity that he's got to work through. But he's a force down low when he's locked in.
Zeller back in for North Carolina. Shot clock is down to 7. Wall against Drew. 3 to shoot. Wall fires a 3. Contact on the inside, and a loose ball foul.
And this is what I'm talking about with Cousins. John Calipari talked to him about it in practice yesterday, Ian. Complaining about being fouled is just an excuse. If it's not called, you have to play through it. That's his sport. And this young man is going to grow up here a little bit today. If he takes heed to what's transpiring on the floor, how he can get better from it and through it, then he's got a chance. There you see John Calipari talking with me.
So Orton checks in to replace him. Free throw is good from Graves. Orton is also playing with 4 fouls. And Graves has a second free throw coming. 80% shooter. Short. And rebounded by Orton for Kentucky. 59-54. Wildcats in front. We count it down as we close in on the 5-minute mark of this second half.
I think Kentucky has to get their movement going a little better here. They've been fighting the shot clock the last couple of half-court possessions. They've got to get into their offense quickly.
10 to shoot.
See, now what happens is you try to let John Wall make a play fighting the shot clock.
Spin move. Oh, rejected by Davis. Down to 1. And there it is. Another turnover for Kentucky.
Part of being young and inexperienced. Wall with a good move to beat his defender, but you just don't beat one guy when you challenge North Carolina, because the shot blockers are laying in wait, and when you don't have movement, it makes it easy for a guy coming off the ball to home in on the shooter.
Well, Calipari looking for offense. He sends in Darius Miller to replace Ramon Harris. 5-point differential. Jump shot doesn't go for Graves. Loose ball scooped off the floor by Ginyard. Post up. Zeller curls, left hand.
Are they going to make him go to his right at some point? The last 3 times he's gotten it down there, he's gone right to his left hand. But again, part of being young and inexperienced.
59-56. Offensive foul, the call. And Kentucky is unraveling here at Rupp.
John Wall beats his defender, but again, good help. And that's excellent work. Trying to see who that was. Was that Will Graves who stepped in there?
Drew, a 3. Bodies flying, no call, knocked out of bounds. And Ted Valentine says last touch by North Carolina.
Well, both of these coaches are finding out about their team and their individual players, because this is a battle. The officials are allowing them to play, and if you don't come strong in going after loose balls or making moves, then you're not going to get anything done.
This is the closest it's been since it was 13-9. Kentucky, 1 field goal in its last 13 possessions. Big shot, Miller, it doesn't go. Able to follow it, come up with a loose ball. Dodson a 3. And Davis up high for the board.
Well, how strong was that? Pogo sticking and then getting it with 2 hands.
Drew sensed the opening and thrown away. North Carolina turns it over at the 3:34 mark of the second half. The lead has shrunk to 3. The Tar Heels and the Wildcats going at it. Look at the game reset. Timeouts. North Carolina has a bunch. Kentucky still with 2. Carolina has some fouls to work with. And the possession arrow favors the Tar Heels. They're on a 14-5 run, thanks in large part to Tyler Zeller.
Well, he's got 6 of his 10 here in the second half. He's made 3 of his 4 shots, and he's done it in relatively short amounts of playing time. Showing you his ability to score with his back to the basket. A solid effort. And North Carolina's really done a nice job taking care of the ball this half. Only 3 turnovers, actually 4, after committing 11 in the first half. Kentucky has been the opposite. They've committed 12 turnovers here in the second half. And it's become a half-court game now. Execution, patience, discipline.
Wall, Patterson, Bledsoe, Orton, and Miller on the floor for Kentucky. Bledsoe needs some help. It was tipped and out of bounds. Kentucky will hold on to it. North Carolina has Drew, Ginyard, Davis, Thompson, and David Ware. 17 to shoot, 3:16 on the game clock.
I think Kentucky has to try to find Patrick Patterson. Try to get that ball to him with an opportunity to do something in the paint.
Timer down to 5. Miller on a kick-out. Bledsoe a 3. And rebounded by Thompson, uncontested. Wildcats get back defensively. North Carolina trailed by as many as 19 in the first half. Working around the perimeter. Ginyard comes to the ball. Ginyard lets it fly. And the 3-ball doesn't go. Rebound tracked down by Wall. Shovel ahead for Bledsoe. Finally draws the foul. Ginyard picks it up.
There you see Cousins, Bledsoe, Orton, all Kentucky Wildcats in foul trouble.
And the 3rd foul called on Ginyard. So Eric Bledsoe, 88% free throw shooter, the combo guard with a pair. 4-point lead. Bledsoe knocks down 2. Kentucky 61, North Carolina 56. Drew running the show here for the Tar Heels. High screen, Davis. Thompson a back in. Repost. Drew gives it up. Thompson fumbles it. Shot clock is down to 10. Drew, a corner three. Rims out. Davis offensive board. And knocked away. Wall with the steal. Wall into the open floor. And a trick.
Here he comes with defenders backpedaling. He finds a seam and able to get between two defenders there. And John Wall will have a chance to add to the lead.
Larry Drew picks up his second foul. 14 points, 6 assists for John Wall. When he gets a full head of steam.
Oh, my goodness. You got to meet him early. Try to choke off his momentum, because once he gets it going, he really can get to that rim.
Out of Raleigh, North Carolina, John Wall goes to the line. No. Called on the floor, so Kentucky trying to get it in, and they bounce it off of Davis. 16 foul.
I thought Wall was in the act, but he must not have gotten into the shooting motion. And that's why it was called on the floor. So full shot clock and a chance for Kentucky to execute play. I still think you got to look at Patterson here for Kentucky.
Inside, Bledsoe finds a crease for the Wildcats. Graves a three, bottom. Will Graves from deep for the Tar Heels. Timeout. 1:45 to play. At Rupp, it's a 4-point game. Look at the game reset. Possession arrow to North Carolina. They get the 3 ball from Will Graves to cut it to a 4-point Kentucky lead with 1:45 to play.
Big three-pointer there by Will Graves as the Tar Heels pushed it up right after they gave up a layup to Bledsoe on a baseline out-of-bounds play. But a quick attack at the other end, and it's only a 4-point game. So if you're Carolina now, you want to continue to play solid defense, get a stop, and then attack and get a good shot. If you're Kentucky, you want to get into your offense a little earlier than they have been throughout this half. And try to find something inside. Wall is a terrific playmaker. So anytime you can put it in his hands, maybe screen roll, but you also want to try to get Patterson a touch.
Shot clock down to 15. Wall gives it up. Bledsoe. The curl to the rim. Floater, no. That knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Davis. And a new shot clock for Kentucky to work with 1:18 left on the clock.
Unlucky for Davis there. He just couldn't reel it in. Seemed like he only got one hand on it.
The Wall will be the trigger man. Last time they had this situation, they were able to find Bledsoe underneath. They're content to use clock right now. 30 seconds to shoot, 1:12 left in the game.
Calipari likes to play make. I like this action. Pick and roll with Patterson.
Picked up by Davis.
I'd run it again. Those two guys, two of your best offensive players.
Kentucky up 4. Shot clock is down to 7. Bledsoe on the baseline. Kick out too high for Wall. And a turnover. With 47.5 left. You had 2 freshmen working in a critical situation.
You said it. That's why I think the pick and roll involving Patterson, who's a pick and pop guy and a junior, you got to go quick if you're Carolina.
40 seconds to play. Carolina down by 4. Off the entry. Thompson. Now it's Drew on the perimeter. Thompson gets an open look and hits. Deon Thompson drills it. 2-point game. 32.4 left in the clock. Kentucky clinging to the lead. Coming down to the wire here in Lexington, Kentucky. The Wildcats ranked number 5. The Tar Heels, defending champions, ranked number 10. They've got 32.4 remaining with Kentucky in front. 63-61. They've got possession of the ball.
Well, obviously, because the shot clock is off now, North Carolina has to decide what it wants to do. This is what I would do. Because Kentucky has been so sloppy with the ball this half, I would give my team half of this clock, 16 seconds, maybe even 20, to force a turnover. Because they've been a little unsettled. They are young and inexperienced. They've not executed well. So I would really apply a lot of pressure. Try to make them uncomfortable and see if you can get a turnover. If you don't get it in 16, 17 seconds, then you try to foul one of the 4 foul shooters. Patterson has struggled from the line this year. Orton is not a strong free throw shooter. The perimeter guys, Miller, Bledsoe, and Wall are all 80+% free throw shooters. So I say you pressure hard for half of this clock, and then you foul one of the 4 free throw shooters.
Wall gets it in, double team comes, and Bledsoe gets tripped. I think they were following your philosophy initially, but Bledsoe lost
Well,
his
when you're going to trap, you can't let that ball handler split you. You got to get those bodies together so he doesn't have any room, and they had him in the corner. But you got to give Bledsoe credit there. Good, strong, quick play to split that anticipated trap. Now you got to knock down the free throw.
1-1 for Eric Bledsoe. 30.5 left on the clock. 17th foul against North Carolina. Kentucky has 9.
Bledsoe has been good here in the early season from the stripe, as you can see. You like his toughness. You like his ability to play both guard spots.
Nails it. He was rated among the top 5 point guards in the nation coming out of high school. Both he and Wall signing on with Kentucky, so something had to give. Bledsoe knocks down a pair.
You don't need a 3, you just need a good shot, and you need it quickly.
Jump shot a 3, doesn't go for Graves, off the rim. Saved by North Carolina. No! Out of bounds, Thompson along the baseline. And Kentucky is in control with a 4-point lead and 21 seconds left.
You didn't need a 3, but that was a good look for Will Graves, and then Deion Thompson just couldn't reel it in. That ball hit the line before he threw it back to Larry Drew II.
A timeout, 2-possession game. 23,000 plus on hand at Rupp Arena. Look at the game reset. Kentucky has the basketball. They've got a 4-point lead with 21.3 left on the clock. An open look for Graves. A 3-ball that almost went down.
Well, that was a well-executed play. I mean, they had a little misdirection. He got a down screen and came right out at the top and got a terrific look that almost went down. So you can't fault that at all.
4 months from today in Indianapolis will be the national championship game. Well, North Carolina and Kentucky certainly believe that they've got a chance to grow and develop over the course of this season.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to watch these teams grow. Because this is the kind of game that you can grow from. A tough one down to the wire.
Into the hands of Bledsoe. Excellent free throw shooter. North Carolina is forced to foul as time comes off the clock. And Bledsoe is going back to the free throw line with an opportunity to add to this Wildcats advantage. Ginyard is 4th personal.
Whether or not, the only way you don't go for a 3 on this next possession if you're North Carolina is if he misses both. If he makes 1 or 2, then you've got to look at a quick 3. It is a 1-and-1 for Bledsoe, so he needs to make the first to get the second. He's made those last 2 pure. That fella knocking him down straight away, Ian.
9 points for the freshman Eric Bledsoe. He is 5 of 5 from the free throw line. One's off the mark. 15 seconds left. 5-point Kentucky lead. North Carolina has to work quickly here. Down to 10 seconds. Zeller, that's a 3. Short. Thompson tipped home with 7.1 and a timeout. 3-point game. Kentucky with the lead and the basketball when we come back to Lexington. Big key on the game reset is that possession arrow. If they are able to get into a scramble situation, North Carolina would get the basketball. Time is running out, though. 7.1 on the clock.
Not a lot of time, so if you don't get that held ball or turnover right away, you're fouling. And then you're hoping for some help for the missed free throw. You got to foul immediately.
Kentucky 66. North Carolina 63.
Bledsoe in a position to try to go long because North Carolina face guarding.
Wall roaming the baseline. They get it in for Miller. No foul was given initially. And then Wall is fouled with 4.3 on the clock.
Foul is on number 1, Ginyard. That is his 5th personal foul.
A make here and say goodnight.
That's it. That'll do it. Wall had a fantastic first half and then suffered the cramps early in the second half. He actually left the game about the 19-minute mark. I think it was 18:46 remaining on the clock when he went to the locker room with the cramp. As you see Ginyard fouling out, Ed Davis being subbed out. North Carolina going to try to go with speed, and Will Graves is the best three-point shooter, although Zeller can make threes as well. But first and foremost, you need John Wall to miss the first of this one plus the bonus.
Wall at the line. Gets the roll with 4.3 left. Kentucky has a 4-point lead. $15 points for the freshman. And tack on one more. 4 seconds left. Drew gives it up. Graves lets it fly and hits a 3 at the buzzer. The Kentucky Wildcats with an early season statement win. 68-66. Kentucky over North Carolina. Wildcats remain undefeated, 8-0. North Carolina drops to 7-2. More to come. Kentucky gets the win over North Carolina, 68-66. Clark Kellogg standing by with John Calipari. Clark?
John, first, congratulations. Terrific win for your team. On the heels of yesterday's practice, you wanted to find out what your team was made of a little bit. Were you pleased with what you saw for the most part?
We also had a meeting last night about 9 o'clock at night. But, you know, as soon as Seth Davis picked us to lose, he picked the Germans in World War II. So I knew we had a chance. But it was a good win for us.
Talk about what the difference was. I mean, the first half was terrific, and then the second half, you guys kind of had to grind it out.
Well, John Wall goes out, and then we got sloppy with the ball. We turned it over. We took some bad shots. But only because we're freshmen. We're young. We don't understand. And you know what? The biggest thing was they got a couple second-chance balls that drove me crazy. 2 or 3 of those, and maybe we end the game. But that's the things I've got to get through to my team. Look, we're not very good right now. We're okay. But we got a long way to go. But I'll tell you this, I like my team. And freshmen do dumb things. My guys do dumb things.
All right, well, congratulations. Thanks, John.
Thanks.
The 2 winningest programs of all time, Kentucky and North Carolina. It's the Wildcats winning this round, 68-66, the final. Coming up, Tim Brando and the crew down in Atlanta to get you ready for the SEC Championship, Florida and Alabama. That's next on CBS.